I feel like it's so important to know that we can grow through what we go through. We really can take what has happened to us and we can turn those lemons into lemonade. We just have to believe that we are here for a reason.
Hey, it's Marie Forleo, and welcome to another episode of Marie TV and the Marie Forleo podcast. You know, fear can stop all of us from time to time, and sometimes our fears can even be dream destroyers. But my guest today is here to talk about how our fears can actually make us fierce. Koya Webb is the founder of Get Loved Up, an international community and yoga school, and she's the author of Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, How to Turn Common Obstacles into Seeds for Growth. She's a yoga teacher, celebrity health coach, and vegan activist on a mission to combat some of the world's biggest challenges, including mental health, social injustices, and global warming. Koya, thank you so much for making the time today. It's so great to have you on Marie TV.
It is such an honor. I've been a fan of Marie TV for the longest, so it's an honor to be able to just talk with you and share.
So the title of your book, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, you wrote, I know a lot about fear because I've lived in it. I know firsthand how abuse, depression, and suffering can make you afraid to live and crush your dreams. I'm wondering if you can take us back to sophomore year in college when track was everything to you. And then it all changed.
I just got the chills. I don't know why. I think it was how you said it, but I just got chills all over my body because it was such a profound time. And I think it's similar to, I think, what many people are feeling now with you're seeing all of the dark and the muck and the hardships that people are experiencing all around the world. So for me, that sophomore year, I had worked so hard. I trained so hard. I left home and had this dream of going to the Olympics. And I put all of my blood, my sweat, and tears into training and being the best that I could be. So that day when I was walking home for class and I got that sharp pain in my back, first of all, I thought I got shot. I was like, oh, it was so sudden. I wasn't doing anything athletic. I was just walking. And this shooting pain brought me to the ground. And I was like, what was that? And then so it hit. And I was literally scared to breathe because I didn't feel it after it hit, but I was scared I was going to feel it again or pain or something. But I was like, what was that? And next thing you know, I felt it again. So it was like this intermittent, annoying, like jab in the back. And so I went to the doctor. And they told me I had a stress fracture. So anyone who's had a back injury, they know what I'm talking about because it's almost unexplainable, the amount of immense pain. And then it's annoying because you don't know when it's gonna hit, when it's gonna come up. So it was just crazy annoying. You don't know when you can move or how you can move or what direction. And that's how we feel like now. What can we do? Like you feel like, oh, I don't know what to do because I feel like I don't know what to expect. And so the coach came out from talking to the doctor and he was like, Koya, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're out for the season. And I'm like, this is a bad dream. This is not real, which is how most people feel right now. This is not real. This is a bad dream. This cannot be happening. What in the world? Like, what is, like, why? Like, I've been doing everything right. I've been doing what I was supposed to do. I'm training. Like, I was just in denial for the first day at least. I'm like, no, I mean, someone wake me up. I must be sleeping for a long time. And the next day I woke up and, the pain in my back, they put me on a lot of meds, but I could still feel a dull ache in my back. And I was just depressed. I was just sad. I would go to classes. I was crying. I was just like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, I'm a Southern girl from Humboldt, Tennessee. We didn't have much growing up. And so track and field was kind of my ticket. It was my ticket to travel. It was my ticket to inspire. It was my ticket to have purpose with my life. And so when all of a sudden it was taken away, I was confused. I was upset. I was hurt. And I just didn't know what I was going to do with my life after that. And so in the middle of class, I would just break out crying. And my teacher was like, you need to go see the counselor. You're not okay. And so I'm like, all right, I don't have a choice. And the counselor told me to try yoga. And here I am, a Southern girl, Southern Baptist. I'm like, Buddha, that like worshiping, that like guy, that like, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. And she's like, no, it's no Buddhas in the room. It's no like idol gods, no golden statues anywhere. It's just stretching. I mean, of course, there's way more than that, but that's what she told me to get me in the room. So I went to the room and I was like, I don't belong here. I mean, no one's looking like me. I'm not flexible. I'm an athlete, but I'm a tight athlete from all the training and the lifting weights. I can't even touch my toes. The only thing that I could do was a back bend because of the high jump. So, and for those who don't know, I was a heptathlete. So high jump, long jump, shot put, javelin. I did a lot, and it was a lot of abuse on my body. And so I went in there and I just felt intimidated. I felt like I didn't fit. I didn't belong. And they were like, this is going to be blissful and relaxed. I'm like, there is nothing about this that is blissful and relaxed. It is hurting me. I'm not happy. And it's not making me feel any better, And so the teacher saw how frustrated I was. And she was like, Koya, I just want you to breathe with me. And we took this deep inhale and exhale. And I felt those chills that I felt at the beginning of this conversation. I was like, okay, that's good. I can do that. I can do the breath thing. I was like, I can do the breath thing. Me and that breath thing, like we can roll. And so I was like, okay, I like this. And so I did the breath and she's like, don't worry about the poses. Do as much as you can, but just promise me you'll just keep breathing and allowing that feeling. And I remember when I had that feeling the first time, and it was when I got baptized. So it was at a very pivotal point in my life when I was younger. And I remember being in service and I would ask my parents, when am I going to get baptized? Like, how am I going to know when it's time for me to get baptized? They're like, you'll feel it. I was like, but what am I going to feel? They're like, you'll feel it. I was like, oh. And so one time the preacher was preaching and I felt those chills and I was like, oh, that's it. All right. It's time for me. I'm about to get dunked in the water. It's time for me to get baptized. And so I felt so good. And I know everyone might not believe in and have different beliefs, but for me, I'm a feeler. I'm an empath. So when I feel those chills, that lets me know like that's for me, spirit moving, and the breath is spirit to me. And so when I had that sensation, it was like you're in the right place at the right time. Be there. And so I fully surrendered to yoga for an entire year. I thought I was going to come back in 6 months. I came back, pain was still there. And wow, I just had to buckle down. And so I did yoga every day. I did swimming. I did biking. And I just prayed and I just practiced way more self-care than I'd ever done. And I realized like you've been training, but you haven't been sleeping. I was also trying to maintain like a 4.0. So you've been sleeping, you've been studying, but you haven't been taking care of yourself. You haven't been getting enough sleep. You haven't been letting your body recover. So I got a chance to do that. And after a year, I came back to win the conference meet and lead my team at Wichita State University to their first women's conference championship title. So that's
come on. That's amazing.
Thank you.
As I was listening to you, Koya, I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, you're such an underachiever. Like I can hear, like, in terms of that drive for excellence, right? And I can recognize that in myself of like where I even remember, for me, I danced and cheered in high school, and that punishing of the body in terms of working out and lifting and not sleeping because you got the job and you want the 4.0 and all that stuff. And I was like, yep. And those habits are hard to break. And one of the many things I admire about you is how tapped into your intuition you are, and listening to your body and listening to your breath and that spirit and how it guided you and you trusted it. I think that's a huge gift, and one of the many that you bring as a teacher.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we all have it. And that's what I like to tell, my students is that we all have it. Like some people are more sensitive than others, and we get there different ways with different philosophies and practices, but we all have spirit, because breath is spirit. So when we enter this human experience, we have the breath, we have the spirit, and we can connect with it, and we have it until we leave this place. And so I love just showing people different ways to tap into it so they can get that divine guidance as well.
So yoga really helped you heal, helped you lead on to a championship, but then how did things unfold from there? Like, what was the next step for you, taking this transition from, in your book, you were talking about, you had Olympic dreams when it came to track and field, and then you made a shift. Tell us about that.
So I went back to the track. I won all these like awards. I was like, yes, thank you, yoga. And I left my best friend. It was like, thank you, bye. And so I moved to California. I moved close to the Olympic Training Center and I called this coach. His name is Ron Sheffield. And I was like, you don't know me, but I want to go to the Olympics and I picked you to be my coach. And he was like, who is this? I'm like, you don't know me, but I can promise you I'll get better every single day. Will you please coach me? Like, I need help. And he was like, I don't know you, but I like you. And I was like, yes, I'll coach. I'm like, yes, that's all I needed. I just needed one person to believe in me because I'm from the South. And like, people are like, what are you talking about? You're going to move where and do what? Girl, sit down somewhere and get a regular job, make some money. I'm like, no, but you don't understand. And it's like every time I try to talk to someone, they would not like come with me on the vision. So talking to Ron, that was the first, like, I will. But I kept trying. And I think that is innate in me. Like I'm a thriver and I'm going to push hard and I'm ambitious. And I feel like that's helped me a lot in my career. And so I was just like, I got to do this. I got to do. And I didn't look for anyone else. I knew it was him somehow. I intuitively knew it was him. And so he said yes. I flew out there, gave up everything, even a relationship at the time. I was like, come with me. They wouldn't come. I was like, oh, well, I'll be starting all over by myself, and it was hard because a lot of times we want to hold on to things and we I wish, I could bring some family with me. I wish I could really bring my partner with me at the time, but I had to realize that this vision was given to you and you have to go with it. And if it's meant for someone else, then maybe they come, or if it's not, maybe they won't. And you have to like be okay with that. So here I was, I moved out to California to train with this stranger and it was great. Training was great, but I went into the same pattern that I did in college, burning myself out. Now I saved up a little money in high school being a personal trainer at the YMCA, but I didn't have enough California prices. I mean, come on. I mean, I definitely believe like wherever you go, you'll make the money to figure it out. But coming right out of college, it was hard and it was tight. So I became a personal trainer at 24-hour fitness. And my schedule is like this: 5 to 8 training, 10 to 2 or 3 on the track, and 5 to 10 p.m. training again. Sometimes I wouldn't get sleep. So I went back into that same cycle that yoga got me out, and yoga was nowhere in the picture. I just have to be honest. I said, thank you. I got healed and I was back on the track and back running myself into the ground. So what happened? I got injured again because your body is like, hold up, wait, quit abusing me. Like, what is wrong with you? Didn't you learn your lesson the first time? And so this time I was like, yoga. Like I forgot it. And I had forgotten it because I was so eyes, towards this goal. And I think sometimes that's what happens. We get so focused on a goal. We forget self-care and we forget that it takes balance and it takes harmony. So I had forgotten what I learned and I went right back to my conditioning of just overachieving and pushing so hard and not giving myself enough self-care. And so, this time I was like, all right, I'm going back to yoga, but like, I want to know, why does it work so good? Like, what is this? What is yoga? And so I decided to get a yoga teacher training certification. And I really understood that yoga is so much more than stretching and just healing your body. It's mental and it's spiritual, and it's guiding you to not only my best self physically, but also mentally and spiritually. And that's why I feel so great. So yoga became my best friend then, and it's been in my life since then. And I was like, you know what? Everybody needs to have this gift of yoga. Like, oh my goodness, it's like a huge gift that not many people, now it's mainstream, but then not many people knew about it. And so I committed to being a teacher and sharing yoga with as many people as I could.
So beautiful. Now, the place I want to go next is around you recognizing in your heart for yourself that this dream of going to the Olympics, specifically for track and field, that it was true at one point in your past, but it was no longer true now. The reason I want to dive into that and peel it back a little is I think that especially for people who are ambitious and driven and disciplined, we can become, like you said, so eye on the prize that we almost have this notion that if we change or we evolve, or if we take a goal that we said was so important, or this dream that I must make happen, and then discover a new truth that somehow we're a failure, or that that's not okay, or, we don't have permission to, or there's kind of all of these layers that go on that I've seen in colleagues, I've seen in myself, where you start to almost doubt, are you okay? Are we allowed to do that? So tell us about that experience for you. What was happening from the inside out?
Mm. Well, I truly believe that you can't fail unless you stop trying. You cannot fail unless you stop trying. And for me, during this healing process, my goal, and you have to remember your why, and you have to realize that the catalyst or the vehicle to get you to your why might look differently. So my why did I want to go Olympic gold medal? I wanted it because I wanted to help people live a healthy and active lifestyle. And I thought I needed Olympic gold medal to do that. I'm inspired by the magazines. I'm inspired by the medalists and how they're going to schools and speaking to children. The why was what fueled me. It wasn't the medal. What are you going to do with a medal other than hang it up in the house somewhere, really? So I remembered that. And to have this yoga and holistic health make such an impact in my life, I realized that I can help people right now. I'm good enough right now. I don't need an Olympic gold medal. I don't need like all these accolades. I can start. And I realized, being a personal trainer as well, that I'm helping people right now. Like, I don't have to go anywhere. And I feel like a lot of times we feel like we need to reach so far outside of ourselves to make a difference and to make a difference in their life. But we are good enough today, right now, every single person. And yes, it's great to have education. And yes, it's great to do things and have accomplishments. But I feel like sometimes we can get so focused on those accomplishments, and we can get so focused on achieving that we forget that we are good enough right now and that we're making an impact right now.
That's right. So I'm curious, like inside, Koya, did you have in your own mind or in your own heart, like that little tug of war that I was describing, where you're like, gosh, am I making the right move? Am I giving up a big goal? Or did it feel so clear to you? Or maybe it was actually a progression. Maybe at first it felt like a little tug of war, and then you're like, no, I am crystal clear. I am ready to move forward in this new direction.
I am still not crystal clear. Let's just be honest. No,
I adore you. I love you.
Like, when did you give up the dream? Like, who said I gave up the dream? I might be 50 and go to Olympics. I don't know. Like, I honestly, to be honest, I cannot sit here and say I've given up my dream for the Olympics, because I have not. Every now and then when I go past the track, I still get that little energy in my body. And I've always, even when I was running, I knew it was going to be something that I did for a long time. And yes, I had goals of making these, like, when I'm 35, I'll do this. And when I'm 40, but I always planned for it to be in my life. And even though I'm not training, I still run a mile a day. I still stay in good shape. And I still have somewhere in my existence that I might just go to the Olympics still. So to be honest, and maybe you can relate, like, I feel like everyone has those things, like, I might not be doing them now, but you don't know when I'll come back. So,
oh yeah. Can we dive in there for a minute? Because that was me a lot with dance. When I had this entire portion of my career when I was a Nike elite athlete and I was teaching hip hop and different styles of dance all around the world, but in a fitness environment, which was perfect for me. And then I let that kind of have a rest so I could focus on our online business and the education business. And I was like, okay, this is kind of my next chapter. And then last year when I launched my book, Everything is Figureoutable, I'm like, coming out with the dance again. We are going to have a concert with 15 dancers and there will absolutely be choreography. Do you know what I mean? So when you were saying that, I was like, I am with you. You and I, we share so much of the same DNA. It's like, oh, and that might happen again. And it might happen again.
Right. And I love that. I love that. I love your book, Everything is Figureoutable. I love that philosophy. And I love that you brought the dance back, because when something's in your DNA, you really can't just like be like, oh, it's done. No, it's there. If it's real, it's there. And you might do it in a different way. You might teach your child to do it. You might be a coach for it, but it doesn't really leave. If it's DNA deep, it doesn't just go away.
That's right. That's right. I love it. And, the lesson too is, I think again, so many things I admire about you, Koya, but I love how you also, I believe, as part of that shared DNA is being a multi-passionate entrepreneur. It's not like, Koya is only a yoga teacher. No, she's a holistic health coach and an author and a speaker and an activist. And like the list goes on, and it's all authentic to you. Like when I read your book, as I've been getting to know you more, as I follow you on Instagram and everything, I'm like, this is such a beautiful example of a multi-passionate soul where, from my outside perspective, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you embrace the fullness of who you are and you share it with an open heart and an open mind. And I'm like, yes, because I've always done that. And people are like, but wait, what do you do? And I'm like, I do all those things. Like Tuesday, I might be here. Thursday, I might be there. Saturday, it's going to look a little different. And in 2 years, it might all change.
I love that. And yes, you're absolutely right. And I think that's what attracted me to you in the first place, is because she's multi-passionate and you're not ashamed of it. And I think a lot of time the world wants us to fit into a box, like this beautifully curated box. And like when I would go to agencies, people like, ooh, like you're so complex. I don't even know what to do with you. I was like, what do you mean? This should be good. Just pick something, And so, I'm just like, why is it so hard for people to deal with multi-passionate people? And it's not like I'm trying to do everything. No, I literally love everything that I'm doing. And, and I know people have that thing, a jack of all trades. I was like, I'm not really a jack of all trades. I really love mastering things that I'm passionate about. And I feel the more that we normalize mastering things that we're passionate about, it gives people an opportunity to fully express who they truly are. We are multi-dimensional human beings, point blank, period. And I think we are suppressed when we try to put ourselves in a box. Now I'm not saying everyone's meant to do 8 things, maybe 2 or 3. I mean, when you really start feeling into your gifts and talents, I do believe we're given more than one. And that might look like your career and your family and a hobby. It could be that simple. And for us, it might be 7 different things. So, but right? There's levels to it. I do believe that we are meant to thrive in different ways. And the more we have a time and opportunity to nurture those things and not suppress them, because, and focus is very important, where you focus your energy and your time. So I don't want anyone to get me wrong. Like focusing your energy and time is very important. And I did have to learn that lesson as a multi-passionate person, is that, okay, now of all those things you like, what do you want to focus on? What do you want to prioritize? Because where your attention goes, energy flows. And if you want it to be successful, you need to put enough energy into it to make it successful. So as a multi-passionate person, I had to realize, like, okay, what am I making a priority? Is track and field a priority right now? No. Is the yoga priority right? Yes. And then after I got my yoga certification, I was talking to a client and they were like, I don't want to work out today. I just want to talk to you. And it's like, thank you. I want to talk. And I realized that I had a passion for listening to people and asking them the questions to help them get to that greatest version of themselves. So I got a life coaching certification, and I was just like, and I love just listening to people and say, well, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And then they would like, oh my God, that helped me so much. And again, it still goes back to my same why of helping people live a healthy and active life. But it expanded when I got to yoga, because it was mental, spiritual, and physical instead of just physical. And that's the part that, being an empathic person and being a very spiritual person, that made me feel more fulfilled.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. In chapter 3, again, love the book. Chapter 3, you wrote this as a title, and it's one of my favorites. You are not a victim. You are a creator. You shared that you've been sexually assaulted 3 times, and you write, I want you to know that I don't take healing from trauma lightly. Can you tell us about the power of living from this creator mindset and what that means? And just to give some context for everyone, Koya and I were talking and all of us, right, have been talking about this year being so incredibly difficult in so many ways, and it continues to be difficult. And I think one of the words that has been highlighted so many times for me personally and for other people this year is that word trauma. And that's why I wanted to have this discussion with you, because it's so important. And I know as a kid, it wasn't really a word that I was exposed to that much. And I think it's so important to have conversations to normalize and to open up that dialogue so that people feel less shame and less alone.
Well, thank you. Thank you for going there because I think it's so important for us to talk about it and talk about trauma and talk about the things that we've been through so other people going through the same things know that they're not alone. And for me, experiencing that trauma, it's like, it's disgusting, it's terrible. And my first step and the steps that I take my client through is just acknowledging that it happened and acknowledging that it does not define you. This event that happened in your life, it does not define you. And acknowledging that it happened does not make it define you. Whereas I think a lot of people, and myself included, I didn't want to acknowledge. I wanted to pretend like it didn't happen. I just want to forget about it. I just want to like put it in my past and get on to the first thing. Every single time I reacted in the same way. That didn't happen. Whatever. It's in my past. It's ridiculous. And I'm moving on because that ambitious part of me wanted to just move forward. But yeah, I was moving forward with my life. But trauma, it's in your cells. It's in your cells. And ignoring it, it leaves it there. And I wasn't able to get it out until a long time. And so here I was teaching others. I was still living in my purpose, but I had this hidden trauma in my cells that was affecting my relationships. It was affecting my ability to trust. It was even attracting more negativity in my life because I'd be like, oh, well, I can't trust this person because this is this. And even if I didn't say it or I didn't believe it, it was still there until I brought it out. So I feel like the title, as you mentioned, I'm not a victim, I'm a creator, just speaks to the fact is that when something happens, we have to acknowledge it and it's terrible, but we don't have to stay in that victim mindset. We can realize, okay, if I acknowledge what happened, I can decide what do I want to do with the lessons that I learned from this experience. And for me, what I learned is that when things happen and when challenges happen in our life, it gives us the opportunity to become stronger. And it's all about our perspective. And our perspective can bring us to a paradise or it can keep us in prison, right? And so for a long time, I let my perspective of that incident keep me in a prison of I can't trust men and I can't trust people in general fully. Like I had a hint of doubt about pretty much every relationship in my life because I was like, well, when is this person going to turn on me? Or when is this person using me? Or, and I really honestly, I'm still working through it. Like, let me just be completely honest. Like, I'm still noticing hints of resistance, of fear. And it almost brings up tears in me because you want it to be done. But I cannot sit here and even tell you that it's done, that my healing is complete. I can tell you that it's like yoga, it's a practice. And I have chosen to become a creator and to tell my story, to help other women and men thrive who have been traumatized and who have been, feeling like they're victimized and realize that you don't have to live in that story. You can still follow your purpose and live your truth and do what you wanted to do before that happened. Because again, a lot of people feel like after that moment, life is different and feel scarred for life and feel really down. And a lot of times everyone's physical reality is different, like how they physically heal from it, depending on the intensity. And so it's really important to just realize, okay, with what I have now, how can I still live my purpose? How can I still live my truth? And that's how you become a creator. You say, no matter what, I am still committed to my purpose. I am still committed to my truth. And so that's what I am. And so now that I, remove those layers of, victimization, I'm able to stand up as a creator. I'm able to speak about it without crying. Like usually, I still have emotions that come up, but I'm able to talk about it without feeling like, oh my God, And now I'm grateful that I took the time to talk to friends about it. I remember the first time that I shared it, my parents didn't know until the book came out. They didn't know. I didn't want to include it in the book, and I let people read it, and I included it, and then I wanted to take it out. I was like, no, I don't want anyone to know. And it was just a fear around me thinking people would think less of me if I share what happened to me, right? But it's the opposite. most people can relate, because unfortunately a lot of people have been assaulted in the world, and if I didn't share my story, it'd be so many people that still feel bad about themselves because of what happened to them, and it shouldn't be that way. And my friend, I had friends who read it, they're like, please, please, please don't leave out a thing. It helped me so much, and it was that feedback that allowed me to like push forward, even though I was still having resistance and doubting myself, and fear was coming up for me. I was like, okay. So it was really hard for me. It was a huge growth experience. So after the book, after writing the book, I went through a whole nother season of healing, because again, it was putting my story of trauma out there, not just for myself to process, which I did process a bit, but now it's putting myself out there and sharing this with my world and with the family. And that was a whole nother step in the right direction of saying, I am not ashamed, and this happened to me, but this doesn't define me. And what can I create with where I am now and what I have now? And that is what not being a victim and being creator is all about.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being so open and transparent. I think all of us are on a journey of healing. And, you know, my own personal exploration of healing as it relates to trauma this year, what I'm discovering is that it really is a practice. You know, as a yogi myself, I'm not a teacher, I'm just a student, and I enjoy yoga. And I enjoy so many physical movement practices. But what I'm continuing to see is that there are just more layers and more layers. And to be able to find the right approaches, the right practices, the right therapies, you know, what everyone has a very unique path that they want to go on, but to give yourself the space. And I just remember earlier, so much I identify with you, while my personal situation is different than yours, of just anytime something bad would happen, of just go, you know what? I'm stronger than this. I'm over it. I'm going to move on. You know, and that whole thing. And I just love and appreciate you for being just willing and for us to have this conversation now, because I would imagine there may be some folks listening to us who also share that idea or that notion of when something really, really painful happens that you've been trained or conditioned, or just your mind or society is like, nope, it's over and done with, and I need to move on, and I need to present this strong front, or whatever your kind of narrative is. And I'll tell you from my own experience, every time I keep peeling back these layers, I continue to find deeper wells of strength and deeper wells of compassion and humanity that I didn't even know existed before.
Absolutely. And I always say your issues are in your tissues. And
Yeah.
a lot of people wonder, like, oh, why do I have this tightness, this aches and pains? Or why was I in yoga in pigeon pose? And then I started crying, because a lot of the times when we stuff our emotions and we don't address them, write them out, dance. And now I have a lot of tools to help get emotions out. And so using the practices of breath work and yoga and meditation to process, it allows me to release some of the pain and trauma, not only from my childhood, not only from my assaults, but from constant things that I'm experiencing on a daily level. And to see that physically shift my energy and shift the energy of my students and clients is miraculous. It is absolutely miraculous. I think in the beginning, I was like, maybe it's just what I'm going through. But the more and more I teach and that I train, I realize, no, we all have this beautiful ability to heal trauma, and using the breath, which again is spirit, to breathe through the pain and breathe into our heart and breathe into our body and release that trauma we kind of packed down and didn't want to talk about. It helps us shine as the most beautiful and powerful version of ourselves, no matter what.
I love you. Thank you. Shifting gears again, because that's what I like to do. So you wrote in the book about the time that you were a kid and you were singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And your dad, right? He had a long week He had a lot on his plate and he was like, pipe down. And I basically, I had the same thing happen to me, except it was my brother. And I was singing and I was like so happy. And I remember that very kind of sharp, whatever he said to me, like, shut up, you're terrible. Or, it was young, but it locked into my brain, Koya. I've talked about this before, that I couldn't sing, or that something about my voice was, not right, not good. Stop doing that. And I love that that's the story you opened the chapter about limiting beliefs, because, if we have that idea, right, whether it was around singing or anything else that we experienced as a kid, that we can't, or we don't, what's not possible for us, or we're not good enough in some X, Y, Z way, we don't have to live with that limiting belief and we can actually transform it. So I'm curious, you wrote in the book, you said limiting beliefs are just there to tell you where you need help. That was beautiful. What exactly do you need to cultivate, or who do you need to invite into your life to move through that limiting idea? Just tell me more about limiting beliefs, how you see them, how we can transform them. I have the sentence stem that I want to go to next, but just let me hear your philosophy on limiting beliefs.
So I truly believe limiting beliefs are just like a sign of where we need more love. And I believe fear, whatever vibration it fear is our friend, and it shows us places that we need more love, we need more nurture, we need more attention there. Even the things happening in the world, it's showing us places that we need more attention, we need more awareness. So if we look at it as like more of a calling, like, hey, something's wrong here, we need to fix this individually, we need to fix this collectively. That's what limiting beliefs are. When we have like, I'm not good enough, I'm not old enough. And to be clear, my dad says, shut up. And my dad is a very positive person. I maybe heard him cuss one or two times, but shut up was a thing that we did not say. And so for me to be singing my heart out, ain't no mountain high enough. And I was into it, and I sang it over and over and over and over. And I had a mic, the karaoke that he just bought me for Christmas. And so it was blazing through the house. And then to hear, it wasn't even a warning. It wasn't even like a pipe down, or how when it gets to the third time and they're just done with it. It was, he was holding on to it, or you could tell, because he's like, Koya, shut up. And I was like, I'm a daddy's girl. So I was traumatized. I was like, I thought I was singing good. I thought he was vibing on it because no one said anything. So I thought everyone was just living their whole life off me singing this song to the top of my lungs. So when that hit me, it crushed me. And I went to my room and I just cried forever and ever and way too long. And I remember coming down like an hour later, looking all puffy faced and snotty nosed. And he's like, what's wrong with you? He had no clue I'd been crying for an entire hour. He's like, I swear you were just singing. What's wrong? What happened? Who hit you? What happened? And I was like, you told me to shut up. And he was like, oh, come on, come on, Mom. My mom's in the background laughing, and I was just crushed. And I went back to my room, was so hurt. And I didn't know that affected me for as long as it did. I thought, and then I realized after, doing some work myself and some counseling myself, is that, why are you afraid to sing? Why are you afraid? And I used to sing in the church choir and things like that. And I was like, and then that instance, that visual, it kept coming up for me, because again, I know my dad didn't mean anything by it, but I realized that I had stuffed that moment in my tissues and in my cells and in my body, and I never dealt with it. I never told him how I really felt. So I had to go back and talk to myself, the younger version of myself. And those who do therapy and know this type of coaching, that a lot of times when we have wounds as children that we don't deal with, we actually have to go back and heal it by speaking to that younger version of ourselves and saying, it's okay, you sound good. Because even if we're like, oh, I'm fine now, a lot of times, again, it's in our cells, it's in our tissues that, we're not good enough or we don't sound great. And so, first of all, I went back and I did that childhood work of just going back to myself and saying, you sound amazing. And understanding my dad was just tired and he didn't mean it. And then I talked to my dad about it. He was like, girl, I love your voice. And so I did that healing work. And then I wrote and produced my own song. So that was a big healing thing because I did the writing with a friend of mine, Justin Michael Williams. And then we recorded it. I filmed it from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to sunset, had my friends come through, and I just fully let myself have that vision.
I love that. I love that. So for anyone who has a limiting belief that maybe isn't about singing, because, Koya and I share that, you have this incredible sentence stem that you can reinvent any limiting belief by basically turning it around. And the sentence stem is, rather than saying, I'm always late, for example, the limiting belief, like, oh, I can't be on time for anything, I'm just a mess. I am working on being on time. Or for you and I don't have a good voice. I'm working on making my voice the best it can be. Are you still using that sentence stem? Because I think it's great. I think people are going to love it.
I am still using that, and I plussed it a little bit. And now I tell people that they can turn limiting beliefs into liberating affirmations and to speak it as an affirmation. So what is your liberating affirmation for singing? I sing and I know the world is blessed by my voice and my message. And if it's like, I'm always late, I arrive on time, and I arrive in the right place at the right time. So it's like, how can you make it a liberating affirmation? And it has to have some power around it. And a lot of people say, well, that's not true. Well, it's true when you speak it. So now you just have to live up to it, and also not feel like you have to be perfect. Do I feel like I hit every note and everything's, no, it's not about perfection. It's about living, as well as you can and living up to those expectations of yourself and your truth and your purpose as much as you can. But it's not about being perfect at anything. It's just about doing the best that you can. So I think once you have that you've turned that limiting belief to a liberating affirmation, you can fully stand in your power, and not a perfect power, but a power that makes you feel good just because you're showing up.
I love it. Okay, last place before we wrap up. I want to talk about the power of scheduling, because I love that you shared this. I love that you shared that discipline with your daily schedule is not punishment. I think anytime I get into a productivity conversation, because I am a woman who, generally speaking, likes structure, and I find a lot of freedom in it, actually. I find tremendous liberation in the freedom of knowing the places where I'm investing my energy, because then I feel tremendous harmony and alignment. And that freedom that comes from it is awesome. And that's not to say that I schedule every minute of every day, but generally speaking, I like that. So I'm curious to hear about what your schedule is looking like these days, and what your philosophy is around scheduling.
Well, my philosophy around scheduling is there is freedom in discipline. There is freedom in discipline. And again, like you said, it doesn't have to be perfect and down to the T, but it's like I schedule 6 to 8 hours of sleep, which means I'm going for 6 to 8. Sometimes I get 4, sometimes I get 6, sometimes I get 7. It's not a perfection. Again, it's about the freedom of knowing that I'm going to function better. I'm going to have less injury, which I learned by getting injured many times and realizing that, no, you have to take care of yourself. So I schedule it 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I know that I function better when I have spiritual time in the morning, time to meditate, time to do breath work, time to write what I'm grateful for, time to go outside. My mom's in town, so time to connect with my friends or family. I am just a better person. So scheduling that time in the morning, and it's loose. Sometimes I write, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do something else, but I'm waiting to work until from noon to 5. Now, do I take some things early? Yes. So it's like I put that schedule out there for structure. And I tell people, make your ideal structure and stay on it most of the time, and it'll help you stay balanced. But you don't have to always, lean into it. Because some people look at that schedule and they laugh at me because it has so much on it. But I'm like, I'm not doing every single thing every single day. This is my ideal. And I think everyone listening to this, make your schedule, because it's gonna help you. Because a lot of people say, I can't do this, I don't have time for this, well, you have to make time. You have to prioritize. If you don't put it there, and if you can't even see it, it's definitely going to be hard to do it. And definitely, as we talked about earlier, being multi-passionate, you got to make a little time for everything. And if you don't, you're not going to feel like you have time for it. So I make time for my spiritual time. I make time for my work. I put in a lunch break in there. I tell my team, give me 30 minutes to an hour between events so I can breathe. Does that always happen? No. Sometimes it's event to 15 minutes, but it's scheduled. And when I need to reel it back and cancel some things or move some things, I do. And I think a lot of people, the more that we do that, realize we don't have to have it perfect, but the more we schedule, we have freedom because it's like, oh, I stopped working at 5. So I have from 5 to 7, or I have from 7 to 10 to see friends. Now you don't have to. And I think a lot of us entrepreneurs, we like work and we're like, oh, I got to focus on my business and I don't have time for friends. And a lot of times we lose a lot of friends and lose connection with family members because we're so headstrong thinking we have to only focus on that. But what we're missing out on is the fact you don't know what friends or family might be a blessing to what it is you're trying to do. But the fact that you're putting them on the back burner, on the side, the people that love you the most, you're not giving them an opportunity to see you, to feel you, to love you. So it's so important as a workhorse and as someone who's very ambitious and passionate, just give yourself a little cutoff time. Like give yourself at least 2 to 4 hours in the evening to connect with friends, to connect with family, to have like some type of social life and maybe a little bit of spiritual time before you go to bed, because it's going to help you process your work. It's going to help you process your day. It's going to help you sleep better. It's going to help. I mean, we need each other. And I know we're in a time where we're socially distanced and it's all this blocking, but we still need each other. So even if it's a Zoom call or whatever, that time to connect, to sing, to dance, to do whatever you like. Maybe you're playing chess online, like whatever it is that brings you joy, give yourself some time at the end of the day to do that, because you're going to sleep better. You're going to recover better. Give yourself time to eat. Like, I'm going to be honest. I had times when I worked so hard, I didn't even eat. I'd take a quick protein shake, which I still do sometimes, but I make myself have at least one good meal, 1 or 2 good meals a day. And that is really important for a person who will like literally be like, oh yeah, I'm just like, going liquid today because I don't have enough time. And I had to realize, no, you have to make time to make yourself at least one meal a day. And the other can be like, and I say make it myself. I can like order out and fast food, but that's not the same quality. It's not the same energy. So I have to make myself make one meal a day. And it feels so good. It feels so much better to be balanced and really realize that I have freedom to be my full self when I schedule and I have a little bit of discipline.
You are such a gift. Is it okay if I read a short part from your book?
Please.
Would that be okay? You write, it's near the end. I can't promise you that bad things won't happen in your life or that fear won't ever flatten you. All I can say is that as you are challenged and as you grow through those challenges, you will become stronger. Don't be afraid, not of challenges, of failure, of judgment, or of fear itself. Right here, right now, make a commitment to look fear in the face and say, I have enough love for you. I can get through this. I know how to get through this. Do this and you will be more than okay. You will be fierce. Your words, my love. So beautiful. Anything that you want to leave us with today? If people want to follow you, I enjoy you so much. I don't spend a lot of time anymore on social media. I have to be really transparent. But when I do go there and I catch a post from you, you bring so much light and so much love and so much good vibes. And I'm like, Koya, like I just want to reach out and hug you. So anything that you want to leave us with today, and where can people find you?
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for reading that passage. It's one of my favorite passages because it's so real. I mean, we're all going to experience things, but I feel like it's so important to know that we can grow through what we go through. We really can take what has happened to us and we can turn those lemons into lemonade. We just have to believe that we are here for a reason. And that reason is not to be destroyed. And that reason is not to be flattened by our challenges. But I love that passage, and I love that we ended with that, because that's the thing that I want to end with. Just knowing that you are enough. I am enough. You are enough. Everyone listening, we are enough as we are. And if we believe in ourselves every single day, we're going to be a blessing to the world. Just like nature, it just shows up and shines as it is, imperfectly perfect. And I feel like when you really believe that to your core, your life is a blessing to the world. And all the toxic things, they'll slowly work themselves away, one little by little, day by day, breath by breath. And yeah, you can find me at koyawebb.com. I have my book, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, How to Turn Common Obstacles into Seeds for Growth. So I love sharing that book with everyone. And I have a little gift for people who tune into my website, koyawebb.com. I'm always giving gifts and giveaways and things like that. And I have my yoga school. So Get Loved Up Holistic Health and Yoga School, where I teach teachers to share this gift of yoga, meditation, breathwork, and the science behind why these things work. Because I think it's one thing to feel that they work, but to know the science behind why does my heart feel more open after I did that chakra balancing yoga class? Why do I feel so good after a good cry? And so we're starting to get into the science behind that. And I love sharing that with people. And I love you. I appreciate the joy that you bring me. I've been to B school and it really helped me live my purpose full out and know that I'm enough and know that I'm okay being a multi-passionate human being and actually pour into those passions versus try to stuff them or hide them away. And it's blessed my life immensely. So thank you so much for having me.
Koya, I adore you. I love you. Thank you for the time we spent together today. And I'm hoping that when we find ourselves on the same coast, when I come back to the West Coast and it's safe for us, that I will be able to come see you and give you a big hug in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I want you to come and see me in LA, get out on the water, have some fun. And yeah, that would make me happy.
Come on now, wasn't Koya amazing? I just adore her. And now Koya and I would love to hear from you. I'm very curious. What's the biggest aha moment or takeaway that you got from this conversation? And most important, how can you put that insight or that aha into action starting right now? Leave a comment below and let me know. Now, as always, the best conversations happen over at marieforleo.com. So head on over there and leave a comment now. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe to our email list and become an MF Insider. Why? Because we send loving, positive, encouraging emails each and every week, and you don't want to miss out. Until next time, stay on your game and keep going for your big dreams, because the world really does need that very special gift that only you have. Thank you so much for tuning in to Marie TV and the Marie Forleo podcast, and I'll catch you next time. Hey, are you ready to bring your dream business to life? Is it finally time to make the difference you were born to make? Good, because we can help. Get started now at joinbschool.com.